Part 3. Welcome to our daily story. Please give me an idea. If you listen, don't forget to like and comment below. Megan had just finished sorting a pile of old books when her eyes happened to glance at Nathan, her husband's younger brother, who was sitting on the sofa. He looked intently at the laptop screen, his eyebrows furrowed as if he was preoccupied with something. Megan started to scroll through, but an image on the screen stopped her. "Nathan," Megan spoke up, a little hesitantly. "What are you doing?" Nathan was startled and quickly closed his computer, his eyes flashing with panic. "You're welcome, Megan. Just work." Megan slightly tilted her head, trying to keep her voice calm. "Work?" He seemed tense. "Do you need my help?" Nathan shook his head, eyes looking down, avoiding her gaze. "There is no need. You should not meddle in this matter." Those words were like a bucket of cold water, but Megan still tried to be gentle. "You know, there's a saying, don't wait until you're at your feet before jumping. If you have a problem, it's always easier to talk about it than to hide it." Nathan hesitated for a moment, then sighed. "Thanks, but I'm fine." He quickly stood up, took his laptop and left the room, leaving Megan with a series of questions in her head. She stood silently for a moment, feeling that the story was not simple. Megan bent down to pick up the pile of books again, but the proverb she had just said echoed in her mind. Should she do something before things get out of hand? The evening passed in eerie silence. Megan, still unable to get rid of the feeling of insecurity, decided to bring 2 cups of hot tea to the balcony, where Nathan was standing, his eyes looking distantly into the night. "Here's some hot tea," Megan said gently, placing a cup in his hand. "You seem exhausted." Nathan sighed, fiddling with his cup of tea without looking at Megan. "Sometimes, Megan, I feel like I'm trying to swim against the current. No matter how hard I try, I can't get to where I want to be." Megan took a sip of tea, then replied slowly, "There's a saying, fire tests gold, hardship tests strength. Maybe these hardships are helping you grow." Nathan smiled slightly, but his eyes still contained sadness. "That sounds good. But some days I feel like I'm not strong enough. Pressure from everyone, from yourself. It all keeps falling on my shoulders." Megan nodded, recalling the times when she too had fallen before her family's expectations. "I know that feeling. Sometimes, living to please everyone around makes us forget what we really need." Nathan remained silent, then turned to look at Megan. "How did you get over it?" I think I just need to find something that really means something to me. Do what you believe is right. There is a saying, a straight tree is not afraid of dying standing up. As long as you live uprightly, you will have no regrets." Nathan nodded slightly, his eyes looking somewhat relieved. The two of them sat there, letting the silence ease their inner insecurities. The doorbell rang suddenly, breaking the quiet atmosphere in the house. Megan opened the door. In front of her was Madison, Nathan's ex-girlfriend. She stood there, her dark red coat wet from the rain, her eyes full of coldness. "Hello, Megan." Her voice was light but could not hide her challenge. "Is Nathan home?" "He's upstairs," Megan answered, a feeling of unease starting to rise. "What's wrong?" Madison smiled faintly and walked into the house without waiting for an invitation. She pulled her phone out of her pocket, quickly scrolled through it a few times, and then turned the screen towards Megan. "You'll want to see this." Megan looked at the monitor. It was a video, recording the scene of her and Nathan standing close together on the balcony. In the video, the two are just talking, but the angle makes the moment suspicious. Megan felt immediately confused. What does this mean? Megan asked, trying to keep her composure. Madison raised her eyebrows, her eyes filled with provocation. It's nothing big. But I think Ryan would be very interested if he knew this. Megan took a deep breath and tried to keep her voice calm. Madison, this was a misunderstanding. There is nothing for you to deduce. Misunderstood or not is none of my business. Madison shrugged. I just want to remind you, a needle in a bag can come out after a long time. If you don't want everything exposed, it's better to do as I ask. Madison's threat was like a cold knife stabbing Megan in the heart. She realized that this was not only a misunderstanding, but also the beginning of a big problem. Megan clenched her hands, trying to stay calm, but in her heart an undercurrent began to rise. Just a week after Madison's confrontation, news of her disappearance spread throughout town. Police found Madison's car abandoned in a vacant lot near the night market, but no sign of her. The people were talking loudly, and Megan felt an invisible tension tightening her mind. In the evening, during dinner, Megan tried to start a conversation with Nathan. Nathan, have you heard about Madison? The police are looking for her everywhere. Nathan raised his head, his eyes flickering with annoyance. No, I don't. She probably caused something again. Megan stared at Nathan intently, trying to find the truth in his eyes. Don't you think this disappearance is weird? When did you last see Madison? Nathan placed his spoon on the table, his expression suddenly cold. Why do you ask? I have nothing to do with her matters. Megan pursed her lips, her suspicion growing stronger. The proverb she had heard since childhood echoed in her head. Has a habit of being startled. She couldn't get rid of the idea that Nathan was hiding something. After the meal, Megan went into the bedroom, but her mind was constantly disturbed by passing images. The video Madison had given her, Nathan's attitude, and Madison's sudden disappearance. Megan realized she had to find the truth, even if it meant facing unpleasant things. That evening, as Megan was trying to relax in the living room, the phone on the table suddenly rang. She glanced at the screen. The phone number was not saved in contacts. With some hesitation, Megan picked up the phone. Hello, Megan. The voice on the other end of the line was hoarse, low, and cold. I called as a warning. Nathan isn't who you think he is. Megan sat up straight, a cold feeling spreading across her spine. What are you talking about? I can't reveal my identity. The stranger replied, his breathing quickening. But you need to know that Madison's disappearance was not random. And Nathan has something to do with that. You said Nathan is involved with Madison? Megan repeated, her voice shaking. Do you have any evidence? Not just proof. The stranger interrupted. If you want to know the truth, go to the abandoned house at the edge of town, behind the old lumber mill. But go alone. And don't tell Nathan. Before Megan could say anything more, the call was disconnected, leaving her in a state of utter confusion. She looked at the phone in her hand, filled with suspicion but unable to suppress her curiosity. The old proverb, "There's no smoke without fire," echoed in her head. Does this stranger tell the truth? Megan decided to go to the place indicated. She couldn't sit still as she was filled with fear and insecurity. But she knows this trip may change everything. Megan stopped the car in front of an abandoned house on the edge of town, filled with uneasiness. Faint moonlight illuminated the desolate landscape, broken windows and peeling paint creating a cold look. She got out of the car, each step gently on the gravel, her ears listening to every smallest noise. As she approached, Megan heard voices coming from inside. She gingerly hid behind a broken wooden board, peering through the gap. Nathan was standing in a dark room, across from two other men. In their hand was a black suitcase. "Do you think you can hide this forever?" an older man said, his voice hoarse. "Madison won't let it go so easily." Nathan clenched his hands, his voice low, but full of determination. "I have no choice. She was going to destroy everything for me. This is the only way to protect my family." Megan gasped, a feeling of horror spreading through her body. She realizes Madison didn't really disappear by accident. Nathan intentionally made her disappear. The proverb, "a needle in a bag can come out after a long time," echoed in Megan's mind, making her feel choked. She was about to leave that place, but accidentally hit a piece of wood, making a small noise. Nathan turned around immediately, panic in his eyes when he saw Megan. He walked quickly towards her, his voice urgent. "Megan, what are you doing here? You shouldn't have come," he said, grabbing her hand. "Nathan, what did you do to Madison?" Megan asked, her voice shaking, her eyes full of doubt. Nathan looked at her for a long moment, then whispered, "You won't understand. I'll do everything to protect you and Ryan." But in his eyes, Megan saw only darkness and unspeakable secrets. Megan drove back home in oppressive silence. Nathan's words still echoed in her head. "I'll do everything to protect you and Ryan." Security? But how? And could that possibly justify what Nathan did to Madison? The next night, while news about Madison was still appearing heavily on television, Megan received a text message from an unknown phone number. "Be careful what you know. Sometimes the truth shouldn't be revealed." The line was short but filled with threatening meaning, making Megan cold. Ryan walked into the living room and saw his wife's unusual face. "Megan, are you okay? Lately you seem tired." Megan attempted to smile. "It's just business. It's nothing." But she knew the truth could not be kept forever. That night, Megan sat before the mirror, staring at herself. Her heart was full of unanswered questions. Is Madison truly safe? What could Nathan do next? And what should Megan do? Report it to the police or keep quiet to protect her family? The proverb, "Choose your friends to play with," appeared in her mind, but now it no longer seems to have any meaning. Megan finds herself facing a battle between conscience and responsibility. The story ends when Megan stands up and looks out the window. It was still pouring rain, and darkness covered everything. But she knows tomorrow dawn will bring a new choice, whether easy or difficult. Congratulations for listening to the video so you don't miss it. Please give us a like and comment to catch the next video.